Hello everybody, welcome to this video. The topic being, do you have the willingness to change? And what I mean by willingness is that it is something that we don't often consider when it comes to what it takes to precipitate change in our lives. And the first step really is, of course, wanting change. And actually, even before that, a previous step to that is recognizing that change is needed. So once we recognize that there needs to be some sort of change in our lives, and that recognition comes from usually pain, right? Because as I've said before in other videos, as human beings, just like other animals and just like plants and just like any being in the universe, we are wired in our brains to seek pleasure and to avoid pain. So when something isn't working in our lives, it's because it's not providing us with enough pleasure, and it's providing us with more pain than pleasure. We might see another person, whether in our friend circle or we might see them on television or whatever, we might look and say, you know, this person is living the type of lifestyle that I want to live. And it might be in one area or another. This person might be having the relationship that you want in your life as far as a romantic relationship. This person might be doing the type of job or having the type of career that you want to have for yourself. Or you might see a person that has the type of financial stability or even financial wealth that you desire. So we look to the outside to see what we want, and we compare that to what we have right now, and there's a gap, of course, isn't there? And that's what that's what creates desire. Desire being, I'm here and I want to get to there that I see on the outside, or what I picture on the inside, and I want to get to there, and that creates desire. So what does it take to manifest your desires, right? Well, it first takes the desire. It first takes wanting something. But it also takes, and this is a part that gets overlooked often, is it takes a willingness. It takes a willingness to allow the type of things you want to come into your life, and it's a willingness to be willing to change if change is needed in order to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Because if you think about where you are and then you think about those things that you really want, think about that lifestyle that you want. What would it mean giving up that you have right now that you may not be willing to give up? And sometimes these things that we're not willing to give up aren't always things that make rational sense. So, for example, if you want a career that that feels like it's going to provide you with more pleasure and less pain than you have now. As I said, like we're wired to do, is to seek pleasure and turn away from pain. So this career that you want that is going to be more fulfilling, maybe better pay than where you are now, well, what would you have to give up in your life if you had that career? So if you had that career now and you were living whatever day-to-day lifestyle that a person in that position is living, what might you have to give up? Might you have to give up more free time? Might you have to move to a different place? Might you have more responsibility over other people, over assets, right? And a lot of times when we just daydream about being in a better position in life, so to speak, we don't think about some of the consequences. And I'm not using consequences as necessarily a negative term. Consequences meaning basically changes. That change would be needed in your life in order to be in that sort of position. And then you come to realize that you may not even want what you thought you wanted, you know? I mean, just for example, maybe you dream of being a rock star. I don't know, just off the top of my head, right? At one point I wanted to be a rock star when I was like in my teenage / young 20s years. I wanted to be a lot of different things throughout my life. And I'm sure some of you can relate to that. But what, that lifestyle, the rock star lifestyle, would you really want that? Would you really want to be traveling every day, putting your feet down in a city and then leaving 6 hours later? Would you really want to be surrounded by all the drugs and alcohol, right? Or let's say you dream of being a pilot. Just another thing off the top of my head. You know, they make a lot of money, they garner a lot of respect from other people, and those might be two things that you desire. But again, they don't have a lot of time to be with family. They don't have a lot of opportunities to put down any roots because they're always traveling. They're working weird hours. Their bodies get really beat up, really beat up by the weird hours and by constantly being in the air. Just two examples. So if there is something that you want, and it does feel like it's aligned, and it does feel like that you would absolutely 100%, with 100% surety or sureness, want to be in that position that you dream of, then what does it take to get from here to there? Well, obviously it's going to take a lot of action, isn't it? And action also requires change, because action takes you from out of a comfort zone, so to speak, of where you are at now, and it requires you to step into the unknown in certain areas. So are you willing, and this is where the word willing is going to start to come into this broadcast, are you willing to take the action steps necessary to bring you closer to where you want to be, as opposed to where you are now? Are you willing, like we just talked about, to give up some of the things that you might have to give up in order to get where you want to be? It might be free time. It might be time watching television. It might be time with family even, or time with friends. It might be a lifestyle if you're used to staying out late and you want to step into a new career where you're going to have to be up early. Are you willing to give that up? Right? And then there's the subconscious blocks. See, these are all things that, you know, make a lot of sense logically, and a lot of different coaches talk about. But I want to talk about the subconscious blocks. And all of us carry some sort of subconscious blocks in our beingness, all of us, including me. And all of us are in the spiritual journey working through them in one way or another. And there can be subconscious blocks to getting to where you want to be. And the blocks can be things like, and these are in the subconscious, if I have success, it means I could be attacked. It means I could be murdered. It means I could be killed. These are in the subconscious. If I have more wealth, it means I could be attacked, murdered, killed, hung. Okay? And these come from past life traumas. These come from traumas, and it could be in the Lemurian days. You know, a lot of us as light workers were witches and mystics and wizards back in the Lemurian days, and a lot of us suffered a lot of horrible consequences by being who we were, right? By those who wanted to keep down the vibration of the planet. Similar to what is kind of happening now, but it's a little different. So those memories of traumas stay deep in our cells, and there can be a real hard block there where there's a fear that if I become too successful at something, if I become too known to the public, if I become too wealthy or even well off or even financially stable, even just breaking even, there can be a subconscious block of fear that it means bad things will happen or bad things could happen. And this is probably something you haven't considered before. So just becoming aware that there could be a block there actually will help to shift it. Because the first step to shifting anything is becoming aware of it. The other types of blocks that we might have in the subconscious, again, this is all in the subconscious, is that I need to be victimized in some way. Is that I am always victimized. No matter what, the universe is always fucking me over, something like that. Or God is screwing me over, or other people are screwing me over, or just no matter what I do, it won't work. It'll work for other people, it won't work. And this is a type of subconscious block that comes from childhood. It comes from childhood because the people that raised us or the people that we were around when we were young, they had those types of beliefs. And through the law of permeation, when between the ages of 0 and 6, I believe, your brain is in a state of being very impressionable. And so whatever, not just what your parents talked about, whether to you or just when you were in the house, not only that, but just their beliefs, their subconscious blocks on their own would permeate into you. And that's what happened. And to even connect the dots further, those subconscious blocks that came from childhood, that came from your parents, also come from past life traumas. They come from past life traumas of being victimized, of being killed, robbed, maimed, hung, whatever. Okay, because all of us have lived many, 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 many uncountable lives, okay? I sometimes laugh to myself when I see people on, the internet trying to figure out how many past lives they've had. You've had too many to count. Too many to count. Okay, the soul, and if you've come to this level of on the spiritual journey, your soul has had so much experience. Your soul has had so much experience with a lot of negative stuff, with a lot of negative experiences, a lot of painful experiences, that now, right now, in this lifetime, in this part of this lifetime, you're healing it all. Because you've reached that point, your soul has said, I've pretty much had my fair share of pain and painful experiences, and now is my time to heal it all and break through it all. And that's where a lot of us are at right now, which is awesome. It's good news, right? So the subconscious blocks that might say I need to be victimized or things will never work out. Things just won't work out. And that's really what happens when we self-sabotage ourselves. If you look back in your life now and you think of a time where something was going pretty well and you made a really stupid decision. And of course, every decision is perfect because we learn from every decision. There are no wrong decisions. There's just different paths. And that's absolutely 100% true. That's how the universe, from the universe's perspective and from the soul's perspective, every decision is just as perfect as the other one. But let's say you kind of wish you would have made a better decision. And it ended something that maybe was going really well, or something was going really well and it really threw a fork in it, right? So to speak. Threw a wrench in it. So what happened there is the reason why you self-sabotaged yourself is because of a subconscious belief that this can't just work out fine, that this can't just work out really, really smoothly and fine for me, that there's got to be something that goes wrong. And so becoming aware of these types of beliefs is a huge step towards healing them, towards letting go of them. Something that is coming through right now, we're on a full moon right now, and this is why this topic is coming through me right now, is because on a full moon, we're able to see clearly everything that's going on, including we might get a look like shining a flashlight into the subconscious. It's not often we get to look inside the subconscious and see what's there. It's like if I had a flashlight, I'm looking in my brain right now for the subconscious. It's not often we get to become aware of it. But when we do, it can really help to heal it. So one thing you can do is you can make a list of whatever subconscious, this is something I might even do tonight, whatever subconscious beliefs you think you might have that don't serve you, like things will never work out for me, or I always end up getting screwed over, or making enough money to pay all my bills is somehow dangerous. And again, these things don't make logical sense, but they're stored in the subconscious, and again, they come from childhood traumas, and they really, even deeper, they come from past life issues, past life traumas, okay? So just make a list of whatever subconscious blocks that you feel that you might have, and then throw them in a fire. Make a fire and throw them in the fire, and just, boom, gone. They're gone. And then say to yourself, what if all these subconscious blocks are now gone, and now I'm a clean slate. I'm a clean slate ready to draw into my world whatever I really want. And then get clear on what you really want, and get clear on if what you think you want is what you really want, and if what you think you want feels like it would be worth giving up whatever you need to give up to get there. And the other, the next step that I was going to go to in this transmission is what I call statements of willingness. So we make a statement that tells the universe, I am ready and willing to receive this. So this could be something like, I am willing to allow abundance to flow through me with greater ease. I am willing to allow my heart's desire, I'm willing to allow my greatest passion to also pay my bills. I am willing to allow a more aligned romantic relationship to enter my life. I am willing to allow new friends that are more aligned with who I am now to enter into my experience. So we make a list of statements, and be creative in whatever that you most want. Create a statement of willingness. Okay? The formula, I am willing to allow, and then whatever you want, and be specific. And read these out loud to the universe every day. Every morning, or even a couple times a day, or even all day, just say it. You're out on a walk, say it, say it, say it. I am willing to allow much better health to come in, to be my experience of life. I am willing for greater peace to be my experience of life. I'm willing for joy to be a greater part of my life. So we're really signaling to the universe, and on another level, what's really happening is when we say these, we're signaling to our subconscious that those old blocks and beliefs are safe to dissolve into the light, and that they can be replaced with these new, much more aligned beliefs. Because really, a statement of willingness, you're creating a new belief. You're creating a belief that it's okay for me to have what I want. It's okay for me to have more money if I want more money. It's okay for me to have a more aligned romantic relationship if I want a more aligned romantic relationship. And it's okay for me to have a better job or a better career that more suits me, that's more aligned with me if I want it. So whatever you want, create a statement of willingness and say it out loud every day to the universe. Say it over and over again. Just keep saying it, and the more you say it, your words are magic. Your words are a sword of manifestation. So say it and keep saying it and keep repeating it out loud, keep repeating in your head, and it starts to chisel away at those old subconscious beliefs, and it gives them permission to dissolve into the light. And yes, and of course, action. Once we are using these statements, we also need to take action towards what we want, and take aligned action. Aligned action meaning timing. Recognizing the timing of things and feeling when the time is right to take a step forward in action, and when it's time to sit back and allow things to unfold. And the gift of timing is when you align with that universal timing of all things. When you align with the flow of your life, it's almost as if you surf, or you're on a raft. You're on a raft of the river of your life, right? And there's calm periods, and then there's the rapids. Well, during the rapids, you're not really going to want to make some sort of big leap forward. You're just going to kind of want to hold on and wait until things get calmer. And then when the calm flow is there, that's when you take action. And that's what inspired action means, from my perspective. Taking action in alignment with timing, with universal timing. And that's something that comes from using your intuition. And the more that you develop your intuition in all areas of life, the more that you're able to recognize that timing. Okay, timing is everything. I come from a background of sports. I played a lot of hockey. And in hockey, there's a play called a one-timer, when another player passes the puck across the ice and the other player takes a stick back to follow through and hit the puck. And it's all timing. You have to hit the puck at the exact right time in order to get the maximum flex, it's called, in the stick, and that's what propels the puck forward, hopefully into the goal. It's all timing. Same with baseball. Baseball is all timing. So in your life, if you like these sports analogies, use them. If you don't, throw them away. But in your life, when you feel the timing, then boom. Then you have the courage. Then you use that inner courage, that inner warrior, that inner spiritual warrior, the courageous part of you that's there, and you take inspired action. So, let's review. We have, I talked about some of these subconscious blocks. Recognize that you might have these subconscious blocks. We all do. All of us, okay, including me, have all kinds of subconscious blocks. And when we're able to just become aware of them a little bit, that on its own starts to transmute them and heal them. So recognizing that there's blocks, if you want to do the exercise of creating a fire, write down your subconscious blocks that you might believe are there. Even if you're not sure they're there, write them down, throw them in the fire. You can also just write them down, and then you can crumple up the piece of paper and imagine it going out in flames, or even rip it up. Whatever you want to do, that's a good exercise. And then creating our statements of willingness. I am willing to allow this into my life with ease. Okay, you can add with ease. Okay, because a subconscious block that so many of us have is that good things only come with difficulty or struggle. And that's not something that necessarily has to be true, because I know you can look back on your life and think of a time when something came with relative ease, that you maybe didn't expect it to come so easily, to work so easily, and it just did. So things can come with greater ease than you might think. That's another block to write down. I must struggle in order to have success. Okay? So then create those statements of willingness. I am willing to allow greater abundance to flow through me with greater ease. Say those all the time, say those every day, and then take inspired action towards what you want when the time feels right. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to me, please go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/youareadivinehuman, all spelled out. Please like and follow my page if my messages inspire you or feel aligned with your journey. And my website, youareadivinehuman.org, all spelled out. And I offer private sessions, very powerful, transformational private sessions worldwide via Skype and on a sliding scale basis, meaning there should be an amount that I will accept that for almost all budgets you should be able to afford. So just go to my website or my Facebook page to check out my different offerings and my rates. And thank you for joining me.